Welcome to Gem Collectors with Shawn, and I am that Shawn. In case you forgot what this face looked like, which you might have, I wouldn't know where to start with making the apologies and the excuses for why you haven't seen this show in a few weeks. But believe me, it has been I've missed it as much as you have. And so rest assured, continuity will continue from here. But something has to be obvious to you as to one of the reasons why. Does something look different or maybe a little bit familiar to the background? Well, it should, for those of you that have been watching this show long enough. Because yes, all right, so we have this multi-studio building, and sometimes these sets move around. Or is it that host moves around in the set? A combination of sometimes. So I'm actually back in where I kind of used to be. And in doing so, wow, there is so many wires that have to be hooked up back to these machines that I wouldn't even know what to begin to do with. But it's, you know, what you would expect to see in a TV studio for buttons and dials and equipment. And sometimes, from what I hear from the people in production, it takes more than a day or two to put some of this back together once taken apart. You know what, since my VCR still flashes 12, I can certainly relate to any expertise needed beyond the ability to do that is impressive. So let's leave it at that. That, and I do have to throw in that I think a couple of days was, that long haul COVID deal coming up every now and again, but I am in rare form because I ran into someone in the hallway, literally with the buggy, just ran them right down. No, but I told the person if they didn't keep moving, I was going to run them down. When you're on the move around here and someone's pushing a buggy cart where two won't pass in the hallway at the same time, and if you're the one that all of a sudden stops, you can't stop these buggies, especially mine, which has hundreds of pounds of rocks and minerals on it, and crystals and great stuff. It's like a freight train. If you're on the tracks, you're gonna get smushed. So anyway, we won't even go into that. I'm in rare form. So I would rather spend the time. Let's get to the comments. Let's get to yes, we're still doing the trivia answers. And guess what? For those of you that have been waiting for it, we're doing sale items today. As many as I can throw at you. So unlike the show and go, because there may be some of you that aren't exactly familiar with show and go, or are new to the show, because we've been around for like 4 years now, coming up on our anniversary. 4? Is it 5 now? Either way, that's doing the internet show, the podcast, which has now been moved to YouTube. But before that, I did 9 years of every Monday, 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. in the live show. So lots of shows here, lots of fun, and lots of experience. So if rocks and minerals is your thing, this is absolutely your show. And for those of you new that have been maybe searching or came upon us from YouTube, you may not be familiar with some of the craziness and ways of the show. But remember, this show is associated with Gem Shopping Network, which is a 24/7 powerhouse network that 30-something years, whatever, have been on air. And it has, out of, by far and large, the most valuable and rarest gems and jewelry that you will ever see in any type of TV or internet site. which gem shopping is in both of those mediums. So, you know, they also offer this show, which takes us to the grassroots of all of it, where it comes from, the rocks and mineral land. But in this show also, you can find gemstones, rare stones I offer, jewelry I offered a few weeks back, which all got bought up quickly. It was some pieces I had gotten back, believe it or not, from my son's mom, which was really great. It was some of my early works, and it was so generous of her to give them back to me to sell. And of course, you know, we've been great friends we've made since, and my son, very successful major in the Army, and we share him together. And, you know, couldn't have a better situation. Who could you imagine would actually be willing to give back a major engagement piece along with other custom pieces 30, how many years ago? 38, 9 years ago since I made them. And it was really neat to have them back. And she didn't even want any part of any of the money. She said they were yours then, and I want to give them back to you. They're yours now. So, wow. Lots of good vibes into that jewelry, it felt like. Just like there is in the rocks and minerals I'm going to show you, I have some fascinating things. And they are sale price so far below what you would find them for. And lately, just so I didn't totally lose touch, like lately meaning over the last year, I'm actually, especially when it came to the zeolites, so many of you were saying how inexpensive my zeolites were. So I went and looked on the internet, and it's like, oh, wow, especially the scolicites. The scolicites, for those, which everyone has sold that I've offered, on the internet, the rarity of those was really actually fit the price that they were asking for them. That was more the market price. But of course, what I was selling them for was a fraction of that. And I'm just glad so many of you have the knowledge it takes to appreciate some of the pieces that I have been offering. So today, show. Sale priced items. Those are going to be items. It has nothing to do with the quality of the value or anything of it. Those are items, though, that I have showcased before, and I'm just making them less expensive, sometimes considerably less. Actually, in most cases, considerably less. At least that's my aim too, especially today. Now, also, though, there's going to be some new items thrown in. And if we get some time, and if I just be quiet, we'll have some of that time. There's an educational piece that I want to do stemming from a question from a client that asked about an Afghanite specimen. And I just wanted to have a chance to show everybody just how tricky it can be to make sure you're getting the specimen that's being sold to you. And some of, especially that group that surrounds the Afghanite, sodalites, Hakmonites, Aweens, in that group, it's very difficult to tell some of the differences unless you're really knowledgeable and up on them. I've actually sold all of them, so I have a little bit of knowledge about them. All right, let's get to the, if we can remember, from a couple weeks ago, the trivia questions and then the answers. So the questions started off, we usually ask 2 questions at the end of a show, and the following week we do the answers and give away a, always actually a nice prize. It's to the point where there's a coined phrase that other people that comment will use called trivia envy on pieces that I give away that they wish they could buy. So anyway, let's get to the first question from last week, or again, 2 or 3 weeks ago. What is the name of the most common and effective treatment of, let's see, am I on the right week? Yeah. Or maybe not. Let me see. Yes, I am. Wow, it just seems so long ago. What is the name of the most common and effective treatment of turquoise? And that's one that a lot of people really haven't even heard of. It's not something that you hear about, but it is the most common, and it's a proprietary treatment. In other words, it's just not like one of these that is so recognizable as like one of the epoxy polymer treatments, etc. This is called, the answer being the Zachary process, and the exact there's some spikes in using spectroscopy of what they're doing and using, but the exact process isn't known. But it is used across the board in the market, including in the Sleeping Beauty market of turquoise. And I was looking at another major television jewelry network that sells stones, and they were offering Sleeping Beauty turquoise. If you ever wanted to appreciate that was also that they disclosed as having the Zachary process done. Over the years, I've been offering off some of this parcel I picked up long ago of the real deal, not treated, real deal Sleeping Beauty, not even Zachary process. And so this turquoise, I could not believe how much they were asking for the Sleeping Beauty turquoise with having the treatment process done to it. It would make the value of the pieces I've sold, and one parcel was trivia envy. I gave away, which is kind of shocking that I did, as a trivia gift, some Sleeping Beauty cabs. So anyway, whoever has gotten those, be very grateful that you have. They're quite a bonus. Second question was, what element besides cobalt makes calcite turn a soft pink? Now remember, a lot of times cobalt doesn't turn it just a soft pink, even though it can, rarely. It's more of a stronger pink or a fluorescent neon type pink. But those really soft pinks that almost you have to look at against white calcite just to be able to even see some of the color being pink, that's caused by manganese, and hence often known as Manganoan calcite. So yeah, we have a stunning piece in our collection that she's not going to allow us to part with, and I don't want to part with. Manganoan calcite and some cerussite and vanadinite. It's quite the specimen. Oh, by the way, Miss Gabby, Summer has been hard at work working on your ornaments. So we should have something soon coming up. Plus, we also have another piece of artwork today being offered with an opal pendant by Summer, which is Raven's daughter, who many of you will know her through her hand drawing and painting the ornaments of mineral specimens that Miss Gabby decorated her Christmas tree with, that would look really stunning. So she's quite the artist since a young age, and is working on yours. Okay, so let's see who got the answers right and who the winner is. All right. First, we have Miss Sue in Texas saying, "No, I am so happy to see your podcast posted today." Of course, this was a couple weeks ago. You guys may not quite feel the same way about me today as you would have last week or the week before, but let's see. First, it means you are well, and second, Mondays are just way more interesting with your gem and mineral commentary. Happy New Year to all in our rock group. And Miss Sue in Texas getting both answers correct, Zachary process and manganese. Mr. Brad from Pittsburgh, PA, says manganese is responsible for the pastel color in Manganoan calcite. Turquoise treatment process is the Zachary method. Look for darkening along inclusion lines if present. Yep. Thanks for reminding me of that, because that was another comment I had made. Still, universally, which is nice that there's something that you can still maybe count on. But the turquoise has to be, I'm not going to use the word fracture because it's not fracture, just really internal inclusions or hairlines, but not even inclusions that you can catch your fingernail or even feel necessarily. But there's still, if a turquoise has any of those present in the stone itself, you may not actually even see it to the eye. But under most of the coloring and treatment processes, including the Zachary process, apparently with the Azurite process that there is a dye used or coloring used or whatever is done, the method still creates a darkening along that little hairline flaw, let's say, and call it that. So it still will tend to concentrate and intensify along that line. And that is how you can tell if a turquoise is treatment, because that doesn't happen in nature. Nature, the way it creates colors and the way it creates its things are done, it would be of the same color. So always look for that. But again, if the turquoise, like Sleeping Beauty, is high enough quality and large enough that there aren't any of those, then you're back to square one. Just a quick note of greetings to the Raven and Shawn and the Rock family from the banks of the Monongahela River that also happens to flow north besides the Withlacoochee, currently covered in snow. That's the Monongahela covered in snow, not the Withlacoochee, which of course is along the Florida-Georgia border and where incredible agatized corals are found. Glad to hear everyone survived the other week's storm. Wow, I would like to get a nice star sapphire like the ones that you showed. Oh well, maybe next opportunity. Nice show, be well. For those of you that missed those star sapphires from Ceylon, what can I say? I have been holding those out. But I still may bring in and inventory a couple more. Yes, I have a couple more. Wonderful pinkish purple stars if you saw them in the other show. If you didn't, go to the show. Remember, the shows are archived back. You can see some of the other shows if you missed them. And also, you can just go to YouTube. Just go to YouTube and put in Gem Collectors with Shawn to search for it, and it'll come up. Or go to gemshopping.com. You can also always contact me, Shawn, at gemshopping.com. All right. So, Mr. Brad, keep an eye out. Miss Ursula, Shawn, hello, and it was good to hear all the inquiries from the Rock County community pertaining to your sabbatical absence. I know I took a little bit longer again, didn't I? Manganese is the element that causes the soft pink hues in calcite, hence it's known as manganese and calcite. The answer lies within its name and makes it easier to remember. That it does. However, your tutorial regarding what to look out for when purchasing turquoise was a true eye-opener. Many of us are aware of stabilizing agents being used to retain the blue color, but many may not have heard about the Azurite method. Incredible. Yep, I know, and I've been around a long time, and it was just, I don't know, something I think they wanted to keep it under wraps as much as possible. My investigation into it all stemmed from when I went to this other network site that sells stones and looked. They had Sleeping Beauty, and I was looking at the price with my eyes dropped to the floor because I couldn't believe how expensive it was. And then I saw that it was disclosed as having been treated as well with the Azurite process. Well, who knew? And so you learn something all the time, and I loved that I did as well. But it certainly didn't seem to make a difference on what they were, what my perceived value of it was if it wasn't treated. So therefore, what is a non-treated piece of turquoise worth? Just like in heated corundum, ruby and sapphire, or not heated, there's certainly going to be a difference in value. Cindy in Pennsylvania says, hello, Rock family. A show 2 weeks in a row. I feel as though all as it should be. Peace and contentment. Yeah, and I just ruined that record, didn't I? You really rocked it this week, Shawn. I'm happy to say I got the 2 smaller Ethiopian opals. They appear to be so gorgeous. I had no faceted opal or non-rough, but I will in a couple days. Woohoo! Trivia answers, Azurite processes manganese. Till next week, take care, everyone. Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania, who gifted a friend one of the selenite spheres I bought from you, and she was ecstatic. Yeah, those selenite spheres are always a hit. Have an incredible cat's eye. You turn them the other way, and you can just see optically through them. It's kind of really cool. Mr. Anthony in Massachusetts says, hello all, great show. Hippie chic, in parentheses, I think is the term. That might fit the Raven style. Funky but chic, David Johansen. Excuse the rock and roll reference, which I think is referring to the New York Dolls, if I'm not mistaken. It was a 1 or 2 hit, couple year band, number of years back for us old timers. I scored the Sleeping Beauty cap. Okay, so we know it was Mr. Anthony is the one that made the money off the show, because I certainly didn't. And the 2-star sapphires. Oh, okay, everybody throw rocks through the camera lens at him. No, don't do that. Got the 2-star sapphires too. Wow, triple score. You mentioned the turquoise cab wasn't undercut on the underside, a technique I learned from you, now just a habit. Yep, that's called a back bevel. And the story to that back bevel, I remember it well, why I am adamant at always making sure a stone has that, or that I put one on it, is because after I took these specialized opal cutting lessons at, well, I started at 11, I took the opal, I took special cutting for stars, stones with optical phenomenon, cat's eyes, asterisms, etc. And then I took a specialized opal, and each of these were like every Saturday for like 8 weeks. And so the master opal cutter who taught me was just an old hippie that lived out of the back of his station wagon, had the old flipped up seat in the back, that you could flip up into a seat. And he stayed at this house with like 4 or 5 other hippies. I mean, living really cheap. And when he flipped that up and showed me his opal collection, the value of the opals, he could have been living out on St. Armand's, Circle, Lido Beach, which is where actually St. Armand's Circle, if anyone familiar with Sarasota, is the really wealthy shopping area out towards the beach. And there was a custom jewelry store there. And they had a lapidary that actually taught lessons from there. And oddly enough, I learned from there in 1972, started taking lessons from a gentleman named Scott. And I found out that Scott actually was brought in to teach the other Shawn, that's the cutter that you've seen him, if you've been watching Gem Shopping for any number of years, his name referenced as being cut by Shawn. They brought him up here to specially train that Shawn in opal cutting. And I was just thinking, it's like, who's a friend of mine and is an amazing cutter. But I was thinking, wow, here this old hippie cutter is still around, teaching his trade. And decades later, though, from when I learned it, and I was thinking, I wonder how many opals, additional opals I've cut in that time, and the amount that I've picked up and learned since then. But it's funny, he never advanced his life. His life was in his opals and in the value of them and keeping them and selling them off. He had an amazing opal collection. So he was a great person to learn from. So, point being, he taught me how to put a back bevel. A back bevel is where the flat part of a cabochon meets the curve of the top part, okay? So that edge. And if you put a bevel along it, it will completely reduce the chance of a opal or any other stone from chipping or being broken while it's setting by a large percentage. And so it was something that he always insisted on when he taught me. And I remember doing a job for some of these hippies that worked at had a leather smithing shop in downtown Sarasota on Main Street, and they also had silversmithing and did custom work. And they wanted me to cut some opal for them. And I remember taking the opals back to the silversmith, and I had not put the back bevel on those opals. And he scolded me. He goes, Scott taught you. I know who you learned this from. He goes, I know he didn't teach you not to do this. And he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy that I didn't do it. And so I will never forget that. That's one of those lessons. It's like, because I knew better. I think I actually took a shortcut. I think I just oh well, they're done. It's good enough. It was probably my last good enough. Leaving something when it would have been an easy fix. To put that back bevel only takes a moment. So yeah, Never again, but it was a great lesson to learn. So that is why Anthony now realizes the importance of it, and is since he's been cutting as well, you can't ever teach an old dog a new trick. It is always something new that when you're open to it, that you can learn. So, Mr. Anthony getting both of the answers right regarding the trivia questions. And then we have Miss Elisa saying, hello, GSN crew, Rock family, Lovely Raven, and Professor Shawn. Wow, what a great show, and thank you so much for the zircons. I'm excited to come up with a setting for them. Yes, I'm very interested in your Axonite specimen and can't wait until you offer it for sale. For those of you that remember, I brought in that incredible Axonite, which is one of the most plechoic stones of unusual colors in 3 different directions, kind of like an Andalusite, but just one of the directions is a purplish color. How cool is that? And I've got the pavilion done, and I need to transfer and cut the crown, then it'll be done. But it's a big pear shape. So I'm actually anxious to get to it, but there's so many of the other vendors here that have estate pieces that they're needing these stones repaired, and I do their work for them as I have time. I love the in-depth explanation regarding amylite and why the purple and blue colors are rare in them. And if you missed out on that, go back and watch the other week's show. You'll love the lesson on amylite, and and that's a very logical reason for why orange is more prevalent than the blues and the purples and greens. I'm opting out this week, but my answers are Zachary and manganese. Opting out because she just won the other week. Some people choose to do that, but you don't have to. Stay safe, everyone, and have a great week. Miss Barbara says, hello, Professor, Raven, GSN crew, and the whole Rock family. A normal Monday with an afternoon of Shawn and his goodies. Yay! Till Shawn blew it. Grab the piece of amylite. So she's the lucky one since it prominently displayed green and blue. My favorite combo will go nicely with the large polished labradorite specimen from a few months ago. I was curious about the answers to your 1221 questions. What was the other mineral named after Maynard Bixby that was taken away? Bixbyite, she asked. And what is the handedness of a shell called? Chirality? Well, you got both of those answers right. But when it came to Maynard Bixby, he was big in discovering a couple of very important different minerals. So they gave him the first one, Bixbyite, was named after him. But it's kind of it's more of an ore mineral type thing, and not nearly as exciting as what was later associated with him called Bixbyite, or as we know it, red beryl. Yeah, we know that, one of the rare stones every year. On the top 10 rarest gems is always red, never to be called red emerald. Don't ever do it. And by the way, I did hear that they have started to begin some nominal mining for red beryl again. So we'll see how that turns out. That's been an on and off thing for decades, so don't get too excited about that. So CIBJO, which is a French name, but it's an acronym for a big, long thing. That's the governing body for naming gems and minerals, specimens, and keeping everything orderly. They decided that Bixbyite and Bixbyite sounded too similar to each other. So they took away Bixbyite. So Bixbyite isn't officially recognized as a name for red beryl. Red beryl is fine with me. I can deal with, just leave it as it is. It is what it is. There you go. But poor Maynard, if he had the choice, you think he'd choose Bixbyite or keep the Bixbyite? I think I know which one he would choose. So that's that. Now, okay, here is the other great question for those that missed it. We talked about chirality. That is the right and left-handedness of a shell. And a lot of people don't and never noticed or didn't realize, and it's a new word to them. So here is the quick lesson, and we don't have to zoom in or anything because I think the shell I grabbed is large enough. All right, if you want now chirality, C-H-I-R-A-L-I-T-Y, that is the left or right-handedness of a shell. And this question arises because from a few weeks back, those of you that were lucky enough to get, I brought in it was Calcite. It was a shell, agatized basically. One was a light amethyst color and another was an agate with beautiful quartz crystals in it as well. And they were both Sinistral had sinistral chirality, meaning left-handed shell. They had a left-handed opening aperture. Right-handed is called dextral. Now, here's how you tell. You hold the point of the shell up while you're looking at it. So I'm going to turn this around because pretend that you're looking at this shell. So as you're looking at this shell, let me see. Yep, I think you can see it against my shirt, my hair. All right. With the point up, if you're looking at it, and the opening, see this opening? It is on your right-hand side, correct? Then that shell is one of 99 out of 100 having right-handed chirality, called dextral. Yes, the opening on the right-hand side is the most common opening, not only just by a little, by a huge amount. 99% of shells that you pick up on the beach or anywhere you go around the world, 99% plus will have dextral chirality. In other words, that opening on the right-hand side as you're looking at it with the point up. Now, it is so skewed to right-handed that in the Indo-Pacific, there's one type of shell that they've determined had upwards of 5% sinistral chirality. In other words, the aperture opening on the other side when you looked at it with the point up. That's how, and here's I'll tell you why, if you wondered why. Of course, not my knowledge of it. What do I know much about shells? Well, actually, it goes along with some of this other stuff. I know a little bit about it. Well, if they're agatized, I then it carries over into knowing everything about it. Here's the reason why in the gastropod world, there is very few sinistral chirality shells. And it has to do, from what I understand, has to do with their ability to reproduce. So if everything's not where it should be, I think they find it difficult to propagate or create more of their genetic line of left-handed shells, right? Yeah, that would make sense to me. So I accept that. So that is what chirality is. And that is the answer to your Bixby question if you missed that from before Christmas. Okay, going to keep this short so you have more time to show goodies. I know I need to get to them. Okay, I have a really interesting, and I'll try to show that if we have time later in the show, chart, because we have a question from David. Now, David, I answered this question in a show from weeks ago, so maybe you can go back and look at it. But he asked, do you guys sell loose, natural, unheated, and untreated gemstones that come with certificates of authenticity? And if so, can I buy them online? I'm especially interested in Afghanite. Do you sell that? Well, David, I take it you're meaning Afghanite by way of the mineral specimen, because Afghanite, by way of any kind of faceted, you can maybe find some cabochon material or whatnot, but really most of the value of Afghanites lies in having the formation in the form of a mineral specimen versus a cut stone. Now, Afghanite belongs to the cancrinite family, which is a feldspathoid, okay, kind of related to the feldspar family. So here's the issue. Sodalite, awine, lazurite, and hackmanite all belong to the sodalite and then the feldspathoid family. So very closely related. Afghanite just being a little bit outside of that. If I had time, I'd show you the formula now. We may, if we can later, show you how similar, but yet different, the chemical formula for each mineral is. And that plays a big importance because technically all lapis lazuli is actually awine. And there's things that are different yet similar, and very little differences can make something just a sodalite or make a something a Hackmanite, which is tenebrescent and beautiful fluorescence with very subtle changes. Now, here's the thing with Afghanite. And as far as certification of gemstones, yes, this network and this show from time to time as they become available has had certified stones, but other shows in the network that you can view 24/7, this is just the internet part of it, but the live show, gemshopping.com or Gem Shopping Network, we're on almost every, DirecTV, Dish Network, Comcast, cable, etc., on and on. There's many other vendor shows, and depending on the show, you can find certified stones in jewelry and whatnot. But Afghanite or mineral specimens, there is no certification for them. You can't even send them off to get it like certified as something. The only thing you can absolutely do to make sure you get like an Afghanite is what it is to get spectroscopy done on it, X-ray analysis that way. And that is usually can only be done through a college or some type of, you just got to start calling around, and you might be able to direct you to specific labs. I know certain labs that test for other things or screen for other things could also screen for minerals, because I thought about I wanted to run my gold, for my prospecting, my gold alluvials through there for chemical analysis from time to time through some of these places that have other equipment that's used for other things for chemical analysis. So just start doing some homework, because mostly there's not going to be any kind of certification for mineral specimens to be what they are supposed to be. You just really have to work with people that know what they're selling. I have had Afghanites. I have them in my personal collection as we speak, but none for offer right now at this time. But great question nonetheless. Okay, so we have one more comment that was sent in by Barbara just late, since I missed last week. She says, "Hi, Professor Raven, GSN crew, and the whole Rock family. What can you tell me about Azurite suns from Malbunka Copper Mine in Northern Territories of Australia? Just watched an old video from a Tucson 2008 show and saw something showy but questionable. Since you are amazing, master of the mineral world, I figured I'd pick your brain." And then, new to the market samples were roundish cowpats of coarse grain, bright blue, natural azurite discs on a matrix, light base kaolin. Amazing presentation. All was well until I saw some with Texas stars impressed in the disc's center. Others had more complex designs, seemingly impressed into the azurite patty. Really? Mother Nature is creative, but this looks like she had help. Real or Memorex? Some real, some Memorex. Saw one shifted via Sotheby's site, but none by the big dealers. Your verdict. Well, here's the deal. Did you miss it? I've had Azurite suns right from where you're talking about in kaolin. And I remember I could not believe that they didn't sell. And like the first time around, I had Raven just check before we started the show if that, because I know they came back once and then hadn't sold. So, but she said she didn't find them. So some very smart person, because they were so inexpensive, either that or that was another mineral specimen I took home, because it was like, oh, okay, if they're not going to buy this really, really cool thing. So yes, no, those azurite suns that look like azurite crystallized out from the center out on a white to light beige at the most kaolin for the better quality. Just the whiter the kaolin, the better. Natural. Completely natural. Now, if you are finding designs that do not seem like they would be like a star that's a very symmetrical star, and it doesn't seem like it fits into the natural order of things, well, here's the thing about azurite. You've seen me grow crystals right here on this show, right? Yep, of course you have. There's a mineral that's so easily to grow and such a beautiful blue, and it's a copper, and I'm not even going to say what it is, because I don't want anybody to get the idea and go start growing these fake blue crystals. That is one way. All you have to do is basically put down a cookie cutter pattern, and you can, well, put it this way, and you can grow it in any kind of outside, kind of like a chia pet, start off with the original shape and then it'll fill in the rest. Okay, if that isn't one way, because you don't know if the blue that you're looking at is actually technically, chemically, azurite, copper carbonate. Well, how easy is it to grow a copper carbonate? Wait till you see my homegrown Azurite crystals. Now, that might be a trivia question, so I'm just telling you. I have pictures, and I actually have the crystals. I home grew some Azurite. So let's see. Yeah, I'm just putting that out there right now. And wow, they were really cool. And did I know that they would grow like they did? No, they grew by accident. But now that I know what they did or how I could do that, I could replicate it, and I could probably grow them in all kinds of different shapes. Just a thought. Copper carbonates in general, are easy to grow. And if they seemed unnatural, would someone have the ability to grow something in a cookie cutter pattern? Yeah, that would not be out of the realm. So some may be real and some maybe are Memorex. Okay, let's get to the answer to the trivia question. A lot of correct answers, so we put them in the hat, pull out a number. Excuse me. This week's winner, Anthony in Massachusetts, and let's show Mr. Anthony what he has won this week. This is such a cool item, and wow. This incredibly free item is, and there you go. Look at that. That is silver. That is a sheet of silver. And it would basically been more crystalline. Actually, technically, it probably grew in a crystalline form. What happens is in this particular mine, and I may show you a picture of it here in a moment. You can see the crystal here. What forms and how it forms is in these little tiny seams. See these little openings? And so you have this molten material that will be forced up into these openings and form this seam or leaf material. This green back here is actually epidote, type of epidote. You can see some more silver there. And that's how you, if there's enough height or enough room, you can get a bigger, better crystallization of the silver. But basically, it's being forced into these or growing as native crystalline silver back into these little cracks and crevices in the matrix, host matrix rock. You can actually see some reflections of some of the other host material as well. So very cool piece. If you don't have one, it's from my own collection of native silver, and thought that that might make a good trivia gift present for somebody. And Anthony is the winner this week. Congratulations. Okay, let's tuck that away and we'll get the show started. All right, check this out. Now, talk about homegrown. This is straight from my Made in America collection. You know, over my many years, for those of you that don't know, two things I kind of focused were specimens that were found or grown in the United States. And then the other one was the family of garnets, which is my birthstone. And with the 6 different families of garnets, which I'm such a purist because none of them can really be treated in any manner. So that guaranteed me that. And they have such beautiful differences in color. So yeah, it was 2 fields that I could collect many specimens of. And you're getting to see the benefit of that. Because who else would have something so cool as quartz? Look at that old label. Remember, always keep these old labels. It adds value. Even though this label is on the back and looks modern, it still is provenance. Even down to that, yeah, even the, you know, I don't even know what this is called. I'm going to blame it on code. The barcode. Any information is good information. And so hang on to everything because it just shows you this has gone through different estates. Now, this crystal from Randolph County, North Carolina is stunning. I mean, you know, I've seen Georgia have some amazing quartz and crystals, amethyst as well. But this is amazing for North Carolina, and this little cluster and grouping of them. I mean, that is rock crystal. And then with this additional crystal coming out there, very aesthetic. Now it's attached to this, and I don't remove them. I leave it up to whoever wants it. If you want to remove it from the original box, I kind of like it in the original perky box, as they call it. Miss Barbara told me that. Look at even the staining of the yellow gives you an idea just how old that is. That was probably found somewhere, I'd say, in the 50s or 60s, just by looking at, well, its hand-typed label. Yeah, when did that end? So that gives you some idea right there. Straight from my collection, $28. That's just it. To have a piece of quartz from a unusual locality like that, that quality, that aesthetically pleasing, for only $28, I think is a really good opportunity for someone to get something cool. Now, this next item, one of my faves, but you know what? It is a sale-priced item. Item 1037521. 1037521. Check this out. Look at this. This is a stunner. I love Malachite and Azurite. So you can look at it like this and say, oh yeah, that's kind of pretty. But as Dave brings us in, and as I give it a little bit of a turn, this changes into a really beautiful collector specimen. Look at the Azurite crystals. You know how much Malachite loves to pseudomorph and take over Azurite. In this case, it didn't get too far. There is many beautiful Azurite crystals. And Malachite doesn't form crystals anything like Azurite. That's why it's a different mineral with having a very similar composition. It's the different crystal system altogether. Now, look at this. So up here we have botryoidal malachite that you're familiar with and have seen before. But look at down in the pockets. Look at back in that room. The contrast of colors here makes this exceptionally attractive. Then look at these azurite. See this? It's things like this. See these two azurite crystals right along the side there? That beautiful one. That in a specimen is really what makes it so, look at this back on the backside, aesthetically pleasing. From this angle, I have to do this in reverse on the TV screen, so I don't want to bust anything. So right there, you can see those crystals. Then look at this back down in there, and then up there, and the malachite. And I can assure you, there's additional mineralization. That's probably something right there. Look at that. That's probably a different mineral altogether. And that's part of it. I can't spend all the time to figure everything out. I have to leave a little bit of fun and homework for all of you out there. Look at these. No wonder malachite and azurite were used going back thousands of years, thousands of years BC, for everything from pigments for painting to cosmetics as well, because it retains the colors when ground up. Look at that crystal of azurite right there. I mean, this specimen, in every way you turn it, offers, especially under even more magnification, offers some incredible views. Just like if you were standing along the edge of the Grand Canyon, no matter what way you looked, there were beautiful views. Look at that clustering of crystals. That's what you want to see in a specimen. You want to see those contrasting colors and the two different minerals existing side by side without pseudomorphing. Wow, look at that. Like, look at the greens. There was on here, it looked like some linerite, which is a blue, here we go, right there. That would take some investigation. Another copper mineral. All right, so I could keep turning that and looking at that all day long. Wow, let me see which way I want to leave that. I don't know. It's beautiful in every way. So mark down big time on this because that is actually quite a attractive and valuable specimen. Price on it now, sale price, only $58. Only $58 on that. Take advantage of that. That's a one-time opportunity. Okay, now let's look at item number 1047522. Let's go back to the Garnet and Shawn collection piece from the Garnet collection. And this is, again, in its own right, a stunner, because seldom have I ever really seen almandine garnets in a cluster like this. Oftentimes, because here in the East, we find them in mica schists and or eroded out of the host rock. But in this, look at those embedded, beautiful, beautiful crystals in so many different forms and colors. Now, I just have almandine listed here, but there could easily be, and I'm not so sure that that isn't possible, that there couldn't be some hessonites or spessartines, some other, because the garnets can easily mix family members and look similar but be totally different. Look at the black, beautiful shoral tourmaline crystals intermingled. Then you have feldspar. Look at the little feldspar crystals. I think there is also mica, but I think it's this little fine mica, which is, I think, it could be some flogopite, some of this material. But wow, look at those formations. Okay, what is that? That could be just a frosted surface, but of a garnet. Or, yeah, it looks like maybe a dodecahedron. Could be a specimen, probably needs to be cleaned up. This is more to be found on this. I can assure you there is more to be found. And here's the other neat thing about a specimen this size. When you look at it in my hand, you can see garnets on almost all sides. You know, this is what always I say, kind of drives me nuts on these, but you can't go smash them to find out. What's on the inside? You know there's other stuff on the inside, more additional. Can we go in right here? I just see some more stuff. You know there's other minerals and crystals inside the piece. I just look at these beautiful feldspar crystals over here. Look at this whole edge of them here. And then look at this bicolor garnet right there. What in the world? Looks like some potentially more bicolor. Wow. Yeah, I'm curious about that. Those black crystals as well. Yeah, what a neat piece. How about this? Sale priced. Well, you can tell. See how white this side is and see the background colors here. So this is a different material. I think if you're looking into that, check for potentially flogopite. Okay, this is big time marked down. Sale priced on this, believe it or not, only $77. Yep, only $77 on that. Incredible value. Now, here's one you might recognize, though. Item 998621. 998621. All right, check this out. Many of you will be familiar with this. You've seen them. Oh, yeah, the desert rose. The desert rose. And you can kind of see from some, can even look more pronounced looking, but you can kind of see by the blaze of this barite how it looks like the opening of a rose. This one is neat because it has many different angles that have kind of that crystalline look to it. And look at also the iridescence coming off of that as I turn the edge of that. Oh, that reminds me of the adulorescence. Reminded me of what we said. Dave was supposed to bring in his moonstone that he found. Yeah, so, we've been talking about moonstone. So he actually wanted to go see. He went along the edge of the lake, and he and his mom, he takes his mom. He's great. And they both went rock hunting. And he wanted to see if he could just find moonstones. And he brought back every single piece. He did not miss a one. You know, it could be any of you watching this show learning, because that's where he learned what to look for. And he brought back truly gem cutting quality, cabochon cutting quality moonstones. And it was and nice crystal forms too. So we're supposed to bring. So maybe next week we'll show Dave's moonstones from Lake Lanier. So this is a neat specimen. These formations can be found also in selenite. This one happens to be barite, which I think is a little bit more collectible when the crystals are this well formed. When you get like the Oklahoma desert suns, the Oklahoma barites, they are a lot more sandier. So the crystalline formations aren't near, see how sharp that is, aren't nearly as sharp, and the whole surface looks like it has, well, like you put spray glue on it and then dunked it in a vat of sand. How's that for a description? And whereas these, you can see that's not the case. You have pretty much just the crystal with the sharp angles to it, if it doesn't all fall apart. All right, so this one also very much sale priced. Nice big showy specimen for what it is. Only $24 on that. Only $24 on that. Now, let me show you something that you haven't seen. So it's not something that is on sale, except for the price I'm asking for, it might as well be. This is item 1047622, and I only have the one, so I'm not going to be showing another one. So if you want it, you need to come and grab it. This is from down home country, Georgia. Graves Mountain, Georgia. This is some of the finest lazulite you will ever find is Graves Mountain, Georgia. Look at this beautiful dipyramidal, they call it. In other words, two pyramids, crystal formation. Look at how many of them are in this specimen. And also in this specimen are pyrite crystals, which is fool's gold, in a host rock of quartzite. This was actually mined by a friend of mine who also was the one that mined the rutiles. Got, of course, special permission. He's the king of quartz in the state, and was able to get, a number of years ago, ability to go into Graves Mountain with mechanical equipment. And that's how you find material like this. Look at this. This is beautiful. I love spotting the little pyrites that you'll find in here. And also additional, look at this additional mineralization when you see, it's probably just plain quartz, but you need to look at everything with magnification and look at all the beautiful, beautiful shape to these crystals. There's one of those right there. Look at that little pyrite crystal just gleaming out. Look at that crystal form. This is an amazing opportunity, and it's only $98. Lincoln County, Graves Mountain, Georgia, lazulite. It's a magnesium aluminum phosphate, hardness 5.5 to 6. It was named in 1795 from the Arabic word meaning heaven, in allusion to its color. Now, nowadays, we would probably call it Levi or something because it's blue jean color. And that's how it's described nowadays, as I see. We don't refer to much as the color of heaven in wording, but the color of blue jeans, yeah, denim blue, even a color. Ooh, you know who gets, see these little, we call these little scraps now. They may scrap over it, get it, pun intended. This is a crumb that I always used to give, of course, Raven had rights to him, but she's gone along with it. She lets Dave now keep the little crumbs. That's actually a nice little crystal there, Dave. But Dave, he's a good old Georgia boy, so he needs a lazulite crystal from Graves Mountain, and I'm going to give that to Dave. All right, someone get in on that crystal. I do not have another. That specimen is exceptional because it's not just the one well-formed crystal perched there. It has all the others that you see in it, and it has size. Crystals of lazulite this large are rare that come from Grace Mountain. Here's the other thing that happens to them, and this has complete terminations. When they grow this large, they end up actually growing into the other side, one side or the other, or both, the cavity, the opening that they're forming and growing in. So you'll get termination, what looks like damage, but it's really not damage. It's just where it has outgrown the size of the pocket it was growing in, but yet still keeps wanting to try to grow. That one does not. That one is complete and whole and beautiful. Take advantage of that one indeed. Indeed. Now, it's going to take me a moment to set up on something next. I'll be right back. Okay, don't everyone just go rushing to the phones right now, or maybe you could, because, you know, I am trying this parcel out of opal. This is from a special collection of opal I have had for a long time. It is mixed, it's all Australian, but it's mixed Cooper Pedy, and I can tell the difference, and Lightning Ridge. And now, I realized, you know, I started collecting and took special opal cutting lessons. And I remember my mom, for Christmas, I was like only 13. It was shortly after I had my opal cutting lessons. I don't even think I was 14. Anyway, it was Christmas time. And with 6 children, there could only be so much money. This would be in like 1975 or so to go around. So she would take the amount of money that they had budgeted and divided it between the 6 kids, and she would be really good to stick with spending that much on each one. So mine, of course, I wanted a piece of rough opal to cut, and I still remember that piece of opal. I kept it just because in the what form it was for years before I actually did cut it. I actually do think I have that in a special collection I have. I haven't seen it in a while, but I think I have that stone. Okay. Now, that being said, that opal, I remember what she paid for it back then. It almost took up my entire Christmas budget that she had to spend for me as one of 6, which was $50 each child. Now, this is, that went a lot further, remember, in 1975. All right, and I still can picture the piece of opal. And she would actually pick it up. She went to the, Harris Rock Shop in Sneed Avenue in Sarasota, Florida, where I worked at the age of 13, drove my bike 7 miles one way every Saturday to work there. And what a great experience. It's so few kids. They just saw my exuberance. He also was, Bill Harris was a person that later taught me one lesson, how to facet. One lesson when I got my Graves fastening machine. And I have all the fancy fastening machines. I have like 2 or 3 others. But what do I use? I go back to the Graves. He learned from Henry Graves himself. So I learned only one person removed from the owner of the Graves Fastening Machine Company. And to this day, even though it's a little bit warped and whatnot, I know every one of that machine's nuances, and I still prefer to cut with that machine. And I do all the time. You can ask Raven. I am cutting stones still all the time. I love it, love it, love it. Okay, this parcel, let me show you something special about it. We're going to look at each piece in a moment, but we have to do something kind of fun to start with. This is actually part of the parcel. It's the 6th stone, let's see. Now, here is a white cap. You can see a little bit of color in it. Here is the rest of the opal silica. Nice piece of opal. This material is so old and it has been kept not wet, but dry. So if there was any crazing that was ever to occur, it is already would have occurred. And crazing, of course, is fine lines that a lot of times you can only see them if the opal is held up against the light, but still they do, it's not something you want, and they do affect value. So this opal is straight up clean. It is what it is. It's not ever going to get worse. Okay, let me show you this. Okay, see this little white cap? Now, Australian opal is not known to be hydrophane. In other words, as opposed to Ethiopian opal, which sucks up water and spits it back out like a desert well. So this is something a little bit different, and actually I find, well, we're going to find out. All right, so take a look at the amount of fire against the white. I'm going to set it off in the water right now while we look at the rest of these stones. And we're going to come back to that in a few minutes and see if it looks any different from what it was. All right, let's look at these each one individually, because I can never look at opal long enough. I love looking at it. There, you know, why opal is and always will be my favorite stone. Well, not only is it my son's birthstone, but it's my mom's as well, oddly enough as well. But no two opals ever look alike. No two opals. And they have never been able to make a synthetic opal that I can't easily tell that it's a synthetic. So, all right, look at this. Look at this. Look at the cabochon and look at how high of a dome cab this piece alone could make. And let me see. Did you give me my, well, I got another flashlight. Let me just give that a little backlighting. Look at that. You can see it's clean. It's clean. And that's all you have to do. Oh, well, now Dave, really show it off if there's an inclusion in it. No, he is really showing you the whole story. Thank you, sir. There's absolutely nothing in that opal to prevent you from cutting a stunning stone. Now, I'll bet if I said, is this Cooper Pedy or Lightning Ridge? In your head right now, think which one it is, because I'm going to tell you in a minute. If you said Lightning Ridge, you'd be correct. That's a Lightning Ridge stone right there. Well, that might help a little bit of the some of the dark carbonaceous kind of material that can create the black opals. Plus, you have that little bit of a darker tone there. Okay, so that's one stone. I just love looking at this, so we'll just spend a minute. All right, now, this opal, look at this piece. This was really unusual because it looked like it had been partially tumbled, but it hasn't. It is just kind of formed in the pocket that it was in. Now, what this could have been, if it was, it'd be worth a lot more money. Kind of, I see almost a spiral. Anyway, you can find shapes like this, rounded shapes like this, when opal is famous in that area for replacing belemnites, for fossils, for opalized fossils. And when you see them rounded like that, it could be a partial replacing of a shell or that kind of thing. But anyway, this would still probably be one that you would cut. Look at this opal. Look at the thickness to it, and the color goes from one side to the other. The green material in it could easily be cleaned out if you just wanted to keep it as a specimen, and that's something that wouldn't take much. And to backlight it, you can see this. There is no internal, look at that. There's the angle that you would want. No internal inclusions whatsoever. I can just see even actually internal fire. And this side, all you get is what's on the surface. Thank you, sir. This is a stunning piece, and I'm not sure why I'm even offering it, because it's something that I would still enjoy cutting to the fullest to see what I could get out of that. Remember, there might be at times, if you're a cutter, where you want to, especially you see that backside there, you could remove this, could be one stone, and then you just focus on that. That's just one idea. Let's look at another one of the pieces. Look at this hunk of opal. Oh, you know, red chasers, I used to call them. I knew guys that would get opal and they would cut everything else away, just chasing after a little bit of opal, red color they'd see in an opal. Look at this really unusual fire band with that broad flash fire. Depending on which way you oriented this opal, in other words, the direction you cut it, I see this way, I can see a pin fire. Another direction will give you a broad flash. Look at this. This is probably one, again, that you could cut a couple of stones out of, planned correctly. It'd almost be like planting when they find a big diamond crystal. This is one you want to sit down and lay out. Or throw it in a tumbler, clean up all this, round the edges down, then throw it in the polished tumbler so you don't make it too small, and yet polish the whole thing up, and you have a cool opal in that respect as well. Wow, that's really interesting. Look at that. That's a beautiful piece. I'm going to change my mind before this is over. Look at this. This is the arrowhead opal. If you ever wanted to, and guess what? One time I did buy and I sold an arrow, and it was, of course, man-made. Can you imagine finding a true Native American-made opal arrowhead? Wow. Or I guess it'd be Aborigine made if it was an Australian piece. But this would be one you could easily create into a man-made arrowhead if you wanted to have some fun. And it has color going all the way up. Look at that, all the way up. So what else would you do to it, do to the shape? Well, you know what you would do? This would make a stunning doublet. If you wanted to create a really nice doublet, it's already thinned down at this end with some incredible color and that broad flat area. I don't know. This would be, you know what? I'd do an arrowhead if I was a cutter, just because this shape it would maximize the weight, and it would be something so unique and different. And then wear it. Wear it. All you have to do is notch that. Anyway, I'll be cutting that for you. It's over. Look at this piece. Let's see. Oh, whoa. Okay. Look at that. Well, obvious it's Lightning Ridge. And solid fire through the entire piece. So the entire thickness is all color bar. Of course, there's no internal inclusions. This, of course, would make a mind-boggling, because I've done them, doublet when they're fire patterns like this. It would really make them, but it's still thick enough to cut nothing but a big crystal opal. Oh, look at the other colors of orange in here. Oh man, really? That's an opal. Okay, so let's go back to this other stone with the white cap, and let's see if anything happened in the short amount of time we had it in the water. Let's come in. Wow, I can see from there. Look at that. Now that's a hydrophane opal. So what? Within 5 minutes, look at how much, look at that. Look at how stunning the color is in that bad boy. Look at that, Latif. You see that? What a difference. That was almost, completely chalky white. And the absorption of the water in that short amount of time, brought out that kind of color. So that's really neat and unique. You almost want to keep this as it is for the fact of that rare being hydrophane opal from Australia. That's a neat, neat piece. Really neat piece. So here's the 100 carats of rough, whether you just put them out. You know what? Because even when they're dry, because they have the conchoidal fracture, the glass-like fracture, even when they're dry, they have a polished look to them. In most cases. That rounded one may not. That may not be the bad one to pick up. Yeah, that's what's neat about opal. It's exactly related to glass. Silicon dioxide there. That's completely dry. Look at that. So you could have a neat display even without cutting at all. All right, these 6 opals, you can imagine what cutting one of them would be worth. But I am going to offer these at a stunning opportunity. I may create another parcel. It depends if this parcel is appreciated. This does have some of the bigger stones. And so the next parcel, if I create one, may not weigh as much, and on average, the stones may not be that big. Remember, there's 6 stones and 100 carats here, so we're averaging 16 plus carats a stone. Every one of them cutting quality. And what can I say? How do you evaluate that? Well, as if you're buying rough, and even if you're not, just if you want to know evaluation of opals and how they're evaluated, then you need to know what they sell for in the rough as compared to what kind of value they cut in a completed cabochon. If you can pick up this kind of material in the rough in the neighborhood of even $10 a carat, you'd be doing well. Because obviously a parcel like that, would it cut $1,000 worth at a wholesale level of opal? Absolutely. Because would it cut $20 a carat opal finished goods? Completely it would. Which there's your $2,000. There's double your $1,000. But that's not what we're doing here. This is an old parcel, and Shawn just never did learn how to make money. So that's probably why yes, have the success that I do. How about this? If you want the opportunity on it, 100 carats, $248. $248. How about that? That's $2.58. Actually, there's actually 103 carats. I just gave you a couple extra carats. You might lose a carat on that really, really cool hydrophane one. I should take that one back because out of all the opal that I've had, I have not had a hydrophane Australian opal like that one. Also leads me to be a possibility of that also being a fossil opal. Okay, so I'm glad you enjoyed looking at those as much as I enjoyed showing them. Let me show you, and we're going to segue right into this. 1010521. 1010521. I talked to you about how Raven's daughter Summer, she's 22, she's quite an artist and draws all kinds of mineral pictures. Well, one of the most difficult things to photograph ever is any kind of optically refractive stone, whether it's an amylite, an opal. It takes people like the Van Pelts and some of the other famous photographers that specialize in photographing minerals to be able to figure out how to shoot opal correctly. So imagine how much harder it is to capture it in drawing. And she used actually opal patterns from physical pictures to create this wooden box. And this was a really neat Queensland Boulder opal pattern. So you can see that when you know that the brown areas are the ironstone and the rest is the fire that we know that comes up through the ironstone in a Queensland Boulder opal rough. She also then went ahead and colored the interior. You can see it's Boulder opal when you see even the little dendritic kind of areas. And these were from actual pictures that she created the drawings from. And then let's see what else is on there. There's another one. That looks like a crystal opal. Look at this. So this has been drawn on all sides, and they're not labels or stickers. She literally hand paints them, dated it, and signed it. But you're looking at the information graphics and you're saying, wait, that says something is silver. I want to show you what she's throwing in with the deal. And that is a Boulder opal pendant on a brown sterling silver cord. That's the sterling silver part, is the catch. It is a, you've seen these really neat leather cords. This was a brown one. I like the brown ones. 18 inches long, or because of the size of the opal, you could put a gold chain through there, silver chain. Look at that, drilled right through there. Now that is a brave person that if they hand drilled that. I want to think they used an ultrasonic diamond drill, because look at how thin and how close they were to the silica on that. I just admire stuff like that. Stuff like that just like, whoo. If you ever want to know what gets Shawn excited, it is lapidaries taking it to the edge. And that pun was intended, because that lapidary took it to the edge. Look at this opal. Isn't this neat? Look at, see the brown matrix ironstone in there, coming in there, and look at the fire and the color in this. Matrix Boulder opals can be every bit in price per carat as much as a solid opal. An old friend of mine, and he's the one that, in Tucson one year, start to finish. I knew his wife well. They own the chrysoprase mine that was written up in Rockingham, and long-time opal dealer. And his story was, it's probably been 5-6 years ago now. He went to Tucson, and you know how many, hands you shake and meet and greet people from all around the world. He caught, this was long before COVID, he caught some kind of bacterial meningitis bacterial infection. And before the week was out, he was dead. And it was like just shocking. He shook somebody's hand. He caught something out there. And I have as well. You just almost can't help to. And you know, some people's bodies can have antibodies for certain germs from certain places. And, you know, it's a big melting pot in the world. And some of us aren't, you know, don't have superpowers against everything. So he had some, point being, he had some Boulder opals. And I tell you what, he had one that if you turned it this way, it was the skyline of Manhattan. The color bars of fire, the whole entire piece was fire and color. And it was just looked like straight up and down bars of fire in the building. The opal, and this was a wholesale cost at the time, it was over $25,000, and it was about this size. And you know what? It was worth every penny of it. And it was, you know, completely on ironstone, but the entire face was silica. And that's how they judge value. You know, you expect to see some ironstone, but the less ironstone and the more silica with fire is how they evaluate them and adds price to it. Well, here's the thing. You get the little opal painted jewelry box, you get the pendant, and we have this sale priced. Summer said, I need some money. So, and it was actually her pendant. She donated the pendant to go with the box. She thought it would be a great combination to go with the box. So how about this? How about the two of them? Huge markdown. You get the box, the pendant, the cord, everything, and the fact that this is American artistry. And that is what's so cool about this. Yeah, see, I even had put it on here because it's that important. Signed by Summer, American artistry. You know, so many things you just don't, well, you just expect them to be made elsewhere. And that's not the case in this very cool combo piece altogether. Price only $188. $188. This opal pendant alone, of course, is worth that. And in the box, just something fun and extra is the one way you could look at the value to that indeed. All right, now, next I have three, just so you know, and don't just rush and make your mind up on the first one. I have three parcels somewhat similar. Let's look at the first one. This is item 1047922. And let me get my little cloth that's dust-free. Because I can say this, Asif is really good about making us keep the turntable clean. I won't quite quote and repeat that, but he used a stronger language word as to how invested he is, how much he is, and what a stickler, that's the word, he is. It goes beyond the word I used. I wish I could say what he said. It would really tell you. There you go. Okay, so I think that's acceptable. He said that he's just not a stickler about it, that he's renal about it. That's it, that he's renal about it, keeping it clean. And it's you know, since I'm not usually the one to have to clean it, Dave does or something, it's like, oh, all right, you go, Asif. But in this case, I'm cleaning it, and now I'm really stuck because my finger, okay, here we go. Check this out. Look at this. All right, something fun. Absolutely. This is, okay, Mr. Smarty. This to some of us, it is beautiful. Look at this. Look at this. Incredible pink tourmaline. And now, here's a fun thing while you're watching TV. And there really is a lot of things you can do. All right, you get something a little kind of sharp like this. Straight pen works great. You see this white? It acts like a glue with a lot of these crystal specimens. Now, that's good in one way and kind of bad in another. Because if you remove too much of the white, it's kind of like almost a mortar, a feldspar mortar. On the flat surfaces that aren't connecting crystals, you can take a flat edge screwdriver and this will literally, see, look at that. It'll scrape right off. I mean, I'm not even using any pressure. And you can clean these up. But why you should spend my expensive time and do it when you guys are, look at that. See, that whole piece just came off right there. Now, if I do this and a crystal falls off, I will be the most embarrassed show host. Look at the colors on the end of these. Some of these might be cool kind of bicolors. Anyway, you can clean a lot of this up. Like on these flat surfaces, you know that it's not acting as a bond that's holding the crystals together. And have fun with them. Now, also they're lightly bicolor. You see how they're a little bit lighter and whiter on one end. But what a neat little, look at that, cluster of tourmaline crystals from Paprock. Paprock in Afghanistan produces some stunning crystals of blended colors and whatnot. But these are affordable for you, all right? And I have also dropped the price on them. So 17 carats, how about this? $38. Only $38 for those two. Let's look at item 101, 48122. Wait, hold on. 1048122. My eyes. By the way, all of you, since all of you are so interested, I have a doctor's appointment. And I don't have a choice because my other doctor told me I had to have a primary care physician doctor appointment within 90 days. That was it. And it all has to do with it. Anyway, so I am going. And next will be the eye doctor, and then the teeth doctor, and then the skin doctor, and then by then, yeah. I feel bad for my dad, 91. Sometimes he has to go to different doctors, 4 different doctors a week. Bless his heart. Okay, so whatever the number was, here is, look at this. All right, this is just a parcel of 2. These crystals are so fun because, you know what? They are easy to either use as part of your display for tourmaline, or they make easy drop pendants to create, easy to practice or do real wire wrapping around, easy to learn how to do silver caps with them, and also to add to a Zen garden. And I need to bring in some Zen gardens again and go over that, because I think there's a really neat, when they stand up on their end like that, makes for really easy display in your glass cabinets, which, by the way, I've been nice, I hadn't said this in a while, if you have grandma's china cabinet, and if grandma's still not kind of around the scene, then when's the last time anyone has walked over to that china cabinet and said, oh, that's pretty china? Or when's the last time you ever got it out and used it? My point being, put some unusual rock and mineral specimens in there. You know, get one of those showy trilobite fossils that I've been selling for $68 that sell for $100 and $200. And you know what? Watch how fast it is before someone comes over and starts noticing what's in your cabinet. Put something different in. The next time they come over, they're going to say, oh, I want to see what you have new in your cabinet. I want to see, and that's what'll happen. And you know what? After that, who knows? You might have converted someone to our hobby, which we need more of us. And yes, they may think you're a little eccentric, but there's nothing wrong with being a little crazy. Crazy works in this world sometimes. And I think the old image of a grizzled miner is very appropriate. I could tell you some stories, but we don't have time. Oh man, and that picture of Edward. We went actually by the old gold mine that runs underneath Highway 369 off Creighton Road. And well, I'll have to show you pictures and the story about that discovery that Raven and I made. And we need to go back and look for pyrite. There's some pyrite on the mine tailings. And only if you know where the mine tailings are can you find the pyrite, because they're under leaf litter now. But there's still telltale signs to find it. Okay, my next item number, if I didn't already say it, price, $28. Thank you, sir. $28 on that one. Okay, so that was 48122. These next two are item 1048022. 1048022. And it's just an opportunity for two more. So many times, I just happen to have enough that if there were a couple of you wanting an opportunity, look at those. Both of those stand up. And that's neat. I just like that. And I don't even charge extra for it. All right, same price, $28. $28. Now, let me show you. Next, I have, I like this, 1039621. Just as those tourmalines were sale-priced items, this item is as well. Check this out. This is a multi-specimen. And by that, let me take this away. I don't like to scratch up their turntables and I get in trouble as well. All right, isn't that cool? That's a perfect color shot, capturing what it really looks like. Let's start off by looking at this bottom up. If you look at this specimen, you count sides, you can actually see a 6-sided crystal formation to it. All right, so let's start with that. What we're looking at is this is all beryl. It is a combination of morganite, the pinkish to, lilac colored morganite, named after J.P. Morgan, of beryl, to then, let's tip it this way and count, let me get my pointer, 2 more 6-sided crystals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There is another crystal on top of a crystal. Let's count 1 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is like if you've ever seen one of those high-rise buildings that is built in stair steps of height. That's what this is. This is a 3-tiered hexagonal crystal-shaped barrel. One has grown on top of the other. Look at these colors. Where are those colors emanating from? Well, there's no telling what you're going to find. Look at this blending, okay? And you see when you get that kind of chatoyancy across the crystal, when it's lined up right, you can actually cut a cabochon in this direction, and that's what gives you a cat's eye in aquamarine or beryl. And it is that reflection off of those internal tubular formations that will create that. Now, there we go. Like, look at this little additional crystal right there. It is things like that. Now, we haven't even talked about, look at the incredible, I don't even have to ask Dave. He just knows what I'm going to say. Look at those. Look at those. Now, I would normally, what did I have on here? There is some shoral tourmaline on here, which is black tourmaline, but some of these, if you look at them closer, and it would be worthwhile doing, you may be able to find that it's tantalite, because that's the area that the crystals can be found in. And remember, those are the crystals that look kind of like a sword, pointed at like a sword, which is a much rarer mineral to have as an inclusion. There's also, I'm looking up here. Look at the little reflection. Yeah, there we go. It looks like Muscovite Mica. See, I don't have room for all this in the, so you have to, if you get this specimen, listen to this, my description of it, because I can't put all this information on the tag. There's not enough room. Look at this. Look at this line of crystals just coming right down there, growing right down along there. How cool is that? And coming back around here, all those. Now, could be feldspar. I would check those, the fluorescence of them, because they could be calcites as well. Look at this additional. There are crystals all over this piece. This is one of those when you get the loop out and you spend, look at that. Look at that very cool reflection right there. What is going on right there? I'm not sure, but that is, either one of the prettiest reflections I've seen or another internal mineral of something valuable. Look at the additional crystals. So, anyway, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. And self-displays at an angle like that so beautifully when you can see the colors and the angle. And to sell this at the discounted sale price, are you kidding me? This is only, what? $58. $58. That's, wow. That's an incredible, incredible look and combination for that. Now, let's look at 1035321. 1035321. Now, it wouldn't be a show if I didn't show you a zeolite, would it? We talked about zeolites earlier, about how I have some of the most amazing zeolites of all different zeolites, and beautiful, beautiful collection of them I had bought many years ago as part of sharing a sea freight shipment. And I didn't realize until then just how much the cost of a mineral specimen was in the shipping of it. So when I was able to be able to get in on a sea freight shipment with 10 other big mineral dealers, and we split up one shipment. By the time we started collecting items and being offered opportunities, and then the broker would, set them to each of our boxes, I ended up with 10 crates, 10 big metallic, like the size trunks a military uses for someone. Okay, and so I had 10, and they're metal crates, and you get to keep these really cool crates. I gave them to some friends and all, and they came with locks, and they were packed so well in there that there was absolutely no movement. The amount of time it took to pack, well, if someone like me who packs my suitcase and it looks, you can, we won't go there. No, that's not the way these were packed. These were packed like they used almost a scientific computer to lay it out so there was not one square inch. Of course not. These things are going to be traveled around. They're going to move on a ship. They're going to sit off the coast of California for a couple years, and then maybe you'll get them. Truth of the story was, though, it did take from the start we did this to by the time they got shipped and cleared customs in New York, it was a year. A year. But that's okay. Those of you, when I was doing the live show here at Gem Shopping a number of years ago, got in on a majority of those at the time. But I saved so many of them because I had such a wonderful collection of them that I still am sharing them with you. And right now, you're getting the benefit of them because, I've probably, sold off enough to cover my costs, and why not? I just want to share my knowledge and the fun of these. Look at this. Dave's been giving you a tour. Look at these. I mean, look at this. So you have incredible apopholites along here, a beautiful, beautiful snowy druzy quartz background. And these are all crystals of quartz. You just can't see it under this magnification. Then you have, look at the still bites. I get so excited. And then on the back, I didn't show you, you have remember the green on the, is going to be celadonite. And then you might have goniatite filling in as well. So more zeolites. And this specimen, because of the savings in the shipping, I was just always checking for that natural way. There we go. Look at that. See, look at that. I love it. And I'll be seeing an animal in it somewhere in a moment if I keep staring at it. Okay, how about this? Sale priced right now. That still by marked down, huge markdown to $28. $28. You can, if you listen to the comments long enough, you realize that you've heard from Barbara before, you've heard from many of the others, when they realize how inexpensive my zeolites have been. And it is only because none of the others went in with 10 other major dealers to split a sea freight shipment that took a year to get. But that's why you're getting the benefit now of that big forward-thinking Shawn once in his life. And patient. I had to be patient. I got to see everything I was buying, but you got to see it online, right? So you say, okay, set that. I'll take that batch. Okay, set that batch aside for me. And that's it. You don't see it in person, in that case, for a year. And boy, was it a never-ending Christmas for days opening those crates. And there was so much of it, and unwrapping and unpacking of it, and there was only so much room we could lay out everything that I didn't actually even open up all the crates, some not for months. So it was a never-ending Christmas that was still going on. 1010221. Because you know what? Like the scolicites. I haven't looked the scolicites came in a separate shipment, naturally. But some of the specimens I have not looked at up close and personal until, like, now, when I'm getting ready to, offer them to all of you. Now, this kyanite. Oh, did I give you the right number? 1010221. Look at this. That's a beauty. That's a beauty. And I can never show kyanite without telling you my kyanite story. When I was brokenhearted and had to move from a beautiful Sky Lake Mountain home outside Helen, Georgia, and were the youngest homeowners in this retirement home. And it was full of gold mines. I was the one that did and discovered the gold mines, wrote up a research paper on all the gold mines in a 1,300-acre developmental community that was mostly woods and all. And it was so cool to do that. But anyway, to be able to have access to them all. Still know where they all are. And actually, we were going to, with Asif, and then things just changed, but we were going to actually go in and film some for educational purposes, maybe one day. But anyway, so when I had to leave there, go back to a very, one of the busiest roads in Atlanta called, it's Jimmy Carter Boulevard, changes in whole compounds. I had to go back to an apartment complex. It was really difficult for me to deal with, and my son was only 4 years old. And we always like to do something outside and recreational instead of staying in an apartment on the weekend, unless it was go see a movie. Love seeing movies with him. But anyway, he's a major in the Army now. But look at this cool mic on the back here. There was this hillside down below the apartment. And I said, come on, Colin, let's go run down the hillside and see what we can find. Usually, remember, at the bottom of a hill, that's where the water's going to be. Where there's water, that's where your rocks and minerals are going to be collected and made easier access. This piece, I marked this down to only $18. It wasn't 10 minutes down there looking at this little creek, me depressed as can be because there was no rock hunting anywhere like there was for me in the past, and I was finding 1-inch long kyanite crystals. I was actually needing a sign from the universe that all was okay and that my world would be okay. And in that particular day, I feel like that was, for me, an answer. It's like, okay, all right, right here behind my house in a major metropolitan area, I can still find rocks and minerals. The world is okay. And kyanite, $18. I love it with the quartz in there like that. Kyanite, remember, polymorph of sillimanite and andalusite. Yes, as Asif pointed out. Yeah, you can't say that. They kind of hear something in the background without me having to clarify it because it's been, and you know what? He's got a good point because I left that area, let's see, 30 years ago. My son was 4 years old, so a couple years I moved to Forsyth County. So yeah, like 3 decades ago. So Asif's comment was, he goes, in the urban area it is now, they have a different type of rock there now. And then, of course, unfortunately, and it won't take much imagination to add a word before that to find out what kind of rock that is. But it is certainly not of the mineral kind that you would collect. More like the kind. Plate tectonics, yes. Yes, these happen to have a flaky nature to them and are soluble and can be made to dissipate upon heating. I think that kind of completes your imagination on what that takes. But you know what? He's exactly right. I bet that spot's gone. And here's the thing. There are many disappearing rock hunting sites across this entire country. There is, including down the road from me. They took an incredible delta area of the Etowah River and are making a park out of it. They think that they call that improvement. No, I call that ruining. Well, it's right along the Trail of Tears. And yeah, they're going to ruin it because it's just going to bring in more people, and the entire area should be quantified as a historical area for the gold mining, which is what settled the South. Unfortunately, it is what drove out the Creek and the Cherokee on the Trail of Tears to Oklahoma. Yeah, take a woodland Indian, put them in Oklahoma, and tell them to survive. They call it the Trail of Tears because thousands died along the way. It was a horrible act. But you know what drove it? The discovery of gold only 2 miles from my house. Discovery of gold on Cherokee, legal Cherokee Nation within the boundary of what was considered a nation. And it was Andrew Jackson that did that. Along with Governor Forsyth of Forsyth County. But that's all to history now. But it doesn't mean we still can't keep history from becoming worse. And until then, I will go to all the mounds of dirt they pile up, and I will go through it, because what they're doing right now is right in an extremely historical area, and no telling, arrowheads, shards of pottery, all legal to collect. It's not, Anyway, $18 on the kyanite. Don't get me going on that. Item number 634817. This is an oldie but goodie. And you know why? Because this is a color of rosacite different than some of the other rosacites. This was from an earlier batch of rosacite I got. Now, rosacite is you have a dolomite base here, so that's what you're seeing in this pink areas and whatnot. Now, the neat thing, okay, you see how everything reflects back? It is all covered in selenite. Selenite. It's like a glass layer over it. Selenite, of course, a form of gypsum. And rosacite, look at this. Look at some of this is neat because it covers a wide range of the rosacite colors. And I was actually very smart this occasion because I bought a flat of the rosacite. And this material is not inexpensive now. I'm marking this down, which I shouldn't. This is going to be only $34. Because from some of the, again, prices I've seen, as I'm going down, the general market on all this material is going up. Can you imagine what a sea freight shipment with the cost of, oil and everything, what it would be now to get anything like that? Yeah, rocks weigh. You can't put them on an airplane. Look at this. Look at these colors blues. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, this is where you need to do some discovery work yourself. Look at this. And that doesn't, not necessarily azurite at all. Again, several other, look at that. See those? Those look like crystal shapes right there. There are many other, look at, I see galena. Wow. Yeah, there's lots to be explored. Oh, also, look at that. Calcopyrite is one of the things that will be commonly underneath that adds creating a iron dolomite. Now this one, like some of the other rosacites, doesn't have so much of that iron content. But if you see some selenite covering what looks like an oxidizing crystal, it'll be calcopyrite. And it is the iron that is leaching out of that calcopyrite that is giving the dolomite some of that iron-stained colors. This is a really pretty piece because, again, it has so many other minerals going on all sides left to be discovered. All right, let me clean up my mess right there. I'll be back in a moment. Now, I tell you what, if this doesn't sell this time around, then I'm definitely going to do it. I'm going to cook this thing. Yeah, Aquamarine. Now, I am not only known as one of the very few people that knows how to restore the oil in an emerald. And don't fool yourself into thinking that your emerald hasn't been oiled. I can guarantee if there is any kind of inclusion that reaches the surface, it's just like heat treating rubies and sapphires. It's just done. It's done in multiple steps along the way. Okay, just like the heating of aquamarine. Unless your aquamarine has some green color tone, by heating aquamarine at a low temperature, I'm not going to tell you because everyone's going to be throwing their green aquas into their, I won't tell you that either. But remember, you have inside oven, you also have another source of heat many people don't think of that can go to a higher temperature than your inside oven. Well, I guess since I've opened my mouth, I'm going to blab it. But here's the thing. You can't still use it. It's called a gas grill. Oh, yeah. How many times if your gas grill has a pyrometer on it, you've gone to burn it out. You go out there and your pyrometer's pegged at 650 plus degrees. Well, unless you know exactly where it is, you will commit some grievous errors in the heating and the cooling and the treating of aqua. You might be able to get it treated, but be able to get it out in one piece might be a different story. So I have heat treated, literally, people have trusted me with thousands of carats of cut aquamarine. And it's even terrible. You get upwards of maybe 5% that, because most aqua will have some inclusions of one form or another, unless it's just really, really prime material. And it is those inclusions, even in doing everything right, that will pop the stone and chip it or break it. All right, so not big loss to the cutter. They just recut a smaller stone out of it and get recovered. It's just going to happen. But it is an amazing, amazing thing to put them in at one color and take them out. And I got to admit this, to see them to be all this beautiful blue, if you like that beautiful blue, is quite impressive. Now, I'm a naturalist, and so is Raven. She's a real stickler. She really, really likes having a green color tint. It's her birthstone. She doesn't necessarily much like her birthstone, but if she did, she wants it to be as natural as possible. Now, this is, a beryl crystal, but technically it's aquamarine. You have this yellow staining, that's iron. And heating is what can burn that off. It's a isotope thing, iron isotope thing. And so this one, because of the mica, might interfere some and burn up some of the mica or whatever, but it wouldn't matter. It would be interesting to see this one be more blue if no one gets it. But look at this, though. I actually have another one I think I'll try first. These are really kind of cool. Oh, yeah, definitely. This has got two cool crystals along it. Oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't cook this baby unless none of you get it. And, see, it's also twinned. See, there's two crystals that have come together. Yeah, so I'll have something else to cook instead. But I want to talk about, because you know what? This natural color, how I know this is so natural, because Dave will know where this is, Jefferson County in Georgia. Actually just north of, not too far from Dave. Old schoolyard. I found, going back, I did some research back into the 50s, where there was an old pegmatite that reached the surface that had aqua crystals. And now this is still decades ago. Can't do it now because you can't be anywhere near a schoolyard or do anything without drawing suspicion and whatnot and whatnot. But anyway, I actually found aqua crystals, not this big, but they were about maybe half this size. Amazing. And they were exactly this color. They were exactly in this color range. And it was like, wow, that's so very cool. They didn't have the mica with them, but I was really thrilled to find something like that. I don't have to find an aqua crystal that's clear and cuttable and kind of quality and all that. No, finding anything like that when you find it yourself, that's the fun and the value. Price on this, I marked it down, $24, $24. I got a little lot of these crystals, if you haven't noticed, and now just blowing them out cheap, because that's a good value for that. Now, let's switch it up to an item that is for sale that I should not even consider. 1013921. This is an eye-opener and one of the rarest mineral specimens you'll see. Yes, it is a stunning pink apatite crystal. And these are only found pretty much in one place, Gilgit, Pakistan. This is Muscovite Mica. The yellow is another one of those, kind of irritating, I guess, it's not really a mineral. It's kind of like a combination of cement, it seems. No, it just makes it really difficult because it would take effort and work to clean and bring this material out if you want it. And this is where mineral preparation is an entire art and business in itself. These people that discover these amazing rhodochrosite deposits or these amazonite specimens that expand 3 and 4 feet across, well, do you think they can actually take them out of the ground in one piece? No, they can weigh a ton. They can weigh 500 pounds. They can be so technical to remove that there's no way you can remove them in one piece. I know this happened with the rhodochrosites from Sweet Home. It happened with the amazonites and smoky quartzes. What the miners do is they take many, many pictures. They remove them. Oftentimes the specimens just come apart anyway, and they clean them. They actually reassemble them they'll use epoxy. Yeah, they'll reassemble them, but it's accepted to do that. It should be disclosed if you're selling the piece, and it should also come as part of the provenance to have pictures of the entire, especially these high-end ones, of exactly where it was found in situ, in other words, in the ground and whatnot. All right, now, as we come in close on this, let me show you. What's really impressive in this, I love this band of the muscovite clean across there. Now, all these others, it can actually be cleaned up. I've done a lot of it with on some of these with a brass, not steel, with a brass brush, and just a little work. I mean, I can just start flaking that yellow off there. A toothbrush, an electric toothbrush. Start off, softly around the crystal specimens. Look at how big these crystals are. Look at how big those are. This is a very impressive specimen, and these are very rare and hard to find in the market. This is a cabinet quality size piece and quality. Now, let me try something here because I'm seeing some beautiful color in that crystal. Look at that. Ah, there we go. There we go. Ah, gorgeous. That's beautiful. And thank you, sir. And you know how to find others that I can assure you are throughout here? Ultraviolet light. Pink apatite will stunningly glow orangish yellow. I mean, to where you can't look at that beauty. Wow, that's a nice little crystal. Where you can't miss it. And there's going to be some buried underneath and down in those crystals. Tiny little ones, but they will stand out. They fluoresce so beautifully. All right, this piece is an opportunity if someone wants to add what is a museum quality and size and rarity type item. May not be Smithsonian type museum quality, but certainly would beat the quality of a lot of local museums from, well, I love all the mineral museums. There's nothing they could ever have or show that would be, that I wouldn't appreciate them having. How about this? I am giving someone an opportunity, marking this one down to $148. $148 on that. Big, big look for really a fantastic opportunity for someone. And that's what I want. I want to put these in people's hands. Let me show you. If I just brought this out, and showed you, and you didn't know it was a gem or mineral show, you'd think, oh, wow, look at that piece of coral, did you just bring that up from the ocean? And you might be right. Except if you did it 30 million years ago, look at this. Look at how well the cell structure was replaced. So much so that as we come right in close, you can actually see hexagon patterns that are on the surface that you know even from the hexagonaria corals I have featured that are like in the Petoskey stones. Look at this. See this? You can see the cellular structure radiating out, and at different angles, or if you got it wet, it even becomes more pronounced. You can see over here the same. Ah, look at that. Look at that. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. You can see that. There we go. Excellent camera work. That's exactly what I was wanting to show off. Now that is cellular replacement. Now let me show you. Did the coral improve upon itself from what used to be, whatever it was? I would think so as a rock hound. Blue botryoidal chalcedony up here. These were sawed in half, put on a flat lap polisher, gone through a sanding process and then a polishing process, just to be able to bring you an edge. Look at that. There we go. I want to catch the light on it. That narrow, but still polished. That's a sign of a worthwhile piece and a classy way to do it. Look at that blue botryoidal, rare. That's the rarest color you'll find in this material. And look at that. I love it. This has so much, I guess, really style. And then look at even the opening down into it. You could actually have fun with lighting that way. There is so few that I've found that have been that large. Here is the a little label that you can put with it. Price on this, you know what? I did look up these. Tampa Bay. This is the coral that when I was sorting for the rock shop, I'd have to wear thick gloves, and they would bring it in by the burlap bag. I remember that. Big burlap bags, and every piece I would have to, it was so sharp, I would have to spray down, clean up to be processed later. And I can't imagine if he still had that, the value that would be. Because you know what? Ballast Point in Tampa Bay is no more. There's a boat ramp there, some little fishing pier. And you can't even tell that they're ever mined or ever dug for any coral. It's kind of sad. Because, you know, a rock hound, that's what's happening. We're having fewer and fewer, lesser and lesser places that we can go and enjoy our hobby. This pair, only $58. Only $58. That is a sale. That is a sale opportunity indeed. Now, let's segue perfectly into this next item, which is, if I can read this, my own tag, it is 994721. And wow, look at this. This, going back to my friends, the Johnsons, husband and wife team, hand-napped blade. This is incredible agatized coral blade. And since it's coral and not obsidian and agatized, he does this style different than the way he would nap obsidian. This is more the flint napping, where you can actually chisel it away and hitting it away. Other ones like obsidian, which is more like glass, he pressure flakes by pushing on a piece of metal and so hard enough until he can flake it away. What talent. This is American artistry. This is signed right there by KJ. His wife does the hafting, which is the attaching of the blade to, look at that, natural color, agate, beautiful. I love that, because you know what? This Brazilian banded agate, this is the agate that if you heat treat, it turns that darker orange color. But this is natural, and you know what a stickler I am about it being natural. This is sharp enough that in a Native American day, you could use it for a scraper blade. You can certainly stick this into something if you had to. But when you talk about gemstone knives, this is a gemstone knife. It's not a regular metal knife with just a little cabochon or something, stuck in the handle. No, this entire piece is gemstone. And then, what about a blade done from coral to have a piece large enough? That's amazing. That's amazing. Opportunity priced on this. How about this? It's a sale. $88. $88. I know. It's such a deal that Asif's doing. Latif now is doing backflips back there. Either that or he's mad at me for selling things too cheap. That's the Latif, man. All right. I'm giving you another chance at something. 102-9721. That this is a sale priced item, and what a goodie it is. Look at this. Look at the crystals on here. This is a really, really, may not be large in size, but it is high quality in the formation. And look at that. Look at that zircon crystal. Look at the color coming out of that. Look at that additional crystal. And biotite mica. Wow. This piece, if you want to add to your collection without breaking the bank, because these can break banks, they're that rare and beautiful. Also, ultra yellow fluorescence, really beautiful shortwave light yellow fluorescence. You can always find more on a piece that way. How about this? How about a sale on this? $38. That's a sale. To have something, a zircon specimen like that, yeah, try to find something that fine for $38 with the rarity that those are. The green, I'm thinking, is maybe agarine. Agarine is found with those specimens. Now, so much. Let me see how much I can get to. Sale price, 1036921. 1036921. We won't take them out. We're just going to show you. Here is a parcel of citrines. And how about this entire, look at the cutting on those. Look at that. Look at the brilliance. Have you ever seen citrines almost look like the brilliance of a yellow sapphire or a yellow diamond? Look at that. And what an attractive color, plus some small ones, which are always hard to find. This parcel, believe it or not, 20 stones, 2 carats, $10. $10. That's why things like this I should just keep. Even if I needed 1 stone a decade from now to use out of there, it would be worth it to keep for $10. The problem is I kept so many stones like that as my time span, life moved forward, my time to get to all these projects that my brain was spinning to be able to complete and do was, I had more than I had time. This next piece, 103, so I'm sharing, 6421, 103-6421. And this is another one. I'm not going to take these out. You don't need to see them. This is, if you ever got in on the faceted apatites of this color. This, I set back some of the rough. And Latif's a cutter, he knows. I set back some of the rough of this material. This is what they cut from. This is facet grade rough. You can get clean stones out of this material. If nothing else, you can tumble it. It's soft. Tumble it with your opal. It will tumble up and polish beautifully, beautifully. You can drill them as beads. You can just keep them as they are, as specimens. That's why I put them in the suspension case. 9 stones. They were mined in the 70s and 80s. I know exactly when, where, the provenance and history of that time period when, yeah. So that's why what I'm offering these now is such a deal. Here we go. Crazy to sale price on this inexpensively, but I'm going to do it anyway. How about this? $22. $22 for all of them. Anthony's probably going to go break the piggy bank. Let me show you something, a real collector piece. 103102-1. Named in honor of Benjamin Silliman. Now, did you just hear earlier, maybe I said a name of a mineral that sounded maybe something like that? Might be a trivia question. Benjamin Silliman in 1824. Well, I guess I have to tell you because that's part of what I'm going to show you. He was a professor of chemistry and geology at Yale. This is one of the polymorphs, as we were talking about kyanite. Polymorph being same chemical formula, different crystal system. And things can look completely different. Take it between kyanite and andalusite. The third member of that polymorph group, which is Al2SiO4. If that sounds familiar, it's because ruby and sapphire corundum is Al2O3. Now that's important, so just follow me for a moment. Chemical formula for ruby and sapphire, in other words corundum, is Al2O3. That means 2 atoms of aluminum, 3 atoms of oxygen make up 1 molecule of corundum or ruby and sapphire, right? So what I'm getting ready to show you in this sillimanite is a chemical formula of Al2SiO4. No wonder the 2 could be found together, because the oxygen and aluminum were both present. Here's the sillimanite. I cannot believe no one has taken advantage of this. If you think, okay, this is it, right? You think, oh, well, that's not very attractive. Well, guess what? It's hiding something. This is only found in this, look at this, I know the exact place it came from, because this formation of sillimanite over corundum is really only found and known to be found from this one locality. And that is in Karnataka, in Tamil Nadu, in India. Because what is it covering up? Let me show you. Look at that, a huge, beautiful gray sapphire. And when you see that hexagonal pattern, there's every possibility that could, yeah, I see some of the chatoyancy coming away from there. Cut that flat across there, dome it on this side, you might have a huge star sapphire. But if nothing else, go ahead, if this is just me thinking, go ahead and create actually, you know what? If it doesn't sell, that's what I'm doing with it. That's what I'm doing. This is the last chance. Because you know what I'll do? And I'll bring it back to you, and then you'll want it. I'm going to take with my thin diamond saw and take slices of this, thin slices. And what it's going to have is that outside rind of sillimanite around that sapphire. And it'll be able to see light through it, whatnot. Or if nothing else, I'll just take 1 or 2 slices and keep the rest. How cool is that? Price on this, I marked this down so low, it comes in a perky box, that I cannot believe no one has taken advantage of it for $118. Only $118 for that kind of look. Last chance, because after that, I have been wanting to run that saw. I missed running my saw. And that's what I'm going to do. Let me see. Okay, we got a little bit of time. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. So many things left to do here still. Let me show you a quick, oh yeah, this is a beauty. A nice collector's piece here. This is item 1019421. 10194. 2, 1. This is a made in America piece. Look at this. Look at this. Incredible Calcopyrites with dolomites from Reynolds County, Missouri. And yeah, so dolomite, if you're not familiar with it, it's a calcium magnesium carbonate. You know how we talk about magnesium carbonates or calcium carbonates? This is the combination of both together, calcium magnesium carbonate. And named after the French mineralogist Guy Dolomieu, who actually found a specimen in Egypt during Napoleon's campaign in North Africa in 1798. Now, as we go in close, it's really pretty to see how well balanced the Calcopyrites are. And this is also a real good piece to use to learn the difference of how to tell the difference in the look of a Calcopyrite versus a pyrite. And when you look at a specimen like this and you see these angles and you don't see any squares, that's your first clue right there. And then this iridescence that you see off of some of these, that also tells you, when you see it on some and not on others, that this piece has not been heated to create that iridescence, which, yes, they do. They do that, unfortunately. I'm actually seeing some other minerals in here, but I'm going to leave it to all of the lucky person that gets this to investigating it. Fun stuff, especially for not a lot of money, because how about this piece? Big time sale, big time markdown, $18. Latif's over there choking. Now, this one. Item 1048322. This is one of the rare pyromorphites. And this piece, the mine was closed in 1880 to mining. Let me show you. The Gut Hoffnung mine, which Miss Ursula, being of German ethnicity, and I think born there, quite familiar and loves German specimens. This piece is beautiful. Pyromorphite is a lead chlorophosphate. And this is one of the old world's mining centers. It closed in 1880 after it had been productive for a long time. And it was opened back up for specimen collecting in 2009 for a little while. And this is how some of these were found. Now, what you look for in this particular piece, some of the cool things to look for, is there's 2 generations of growth. 2 generations of growth. And let me sit that there and hold on 1 second. Let me get out. All right. My handy dandy, hopefully not too dusty, magnifier. All right, what we're looking at when we come in here on the side, let me show you. You see these 2 different colors? This color green and then this other color green. These are 2 generations of pyromorphite growth. So this first, look at this first layer was laid down in crystalline form, and then later came back and another layer of pyromorphite with a slightly different chemical composition formed on top of it. Now let me show you. These crystals are so beautiful from a distance just for color, or let's see if we can look up a little closer to them, because they have a stunning hexagonal shape to them. And it's a whole, look at that. What a whole nother world. And that's why magnification is so fun to use on so many specimens, is because it really takes you deeper inside the specimen itself to where you get to enjoy it fully. And you can see a couple other different shades, slight changes of the chemical composition. And they're kind of barrel hexagons, barrel-shaped hexagons. Look at that. When you catch them at different, they were against my finger, you can see them a little better with the contrast. How fun is that? That's the fun. Look at that. Oh, boy, looks like a fine Azurite garnet. Anyway, I've marked this guy down. If you want in on something really rare and no longer being collected anymore, get in on this pyromorphite specimen. It's only $58, and it'll be one of the most striking and brilliant specimens in your collection, and it'll be one that people will say, oh, what's that? Only because the color will draw them to it. Let me show you something really rare. Item 1013721. It's another sale price item. 1013721. And this was only recently discovered as well. Look at that. Look at that. Brucite. Brucite used to be only found in a grayish blue, no translucency or transparency material. And until they found this amazing discovery not too many years ago, and in Kia Sophia in Pakistan, it's a magnesium hydroxide, and it has a pearlescent kind of surface to it. And it's found in this really unusual kind of matrixy rock. Some of them can look like eggs. And as we go in close, you'll see this surface. It's actually crystalline. Those are crystals, but it's the way they form over each other that gives you that look. And wow, this is a large one, really attractive, and it's also of a facet grade quality. And I have sold many of these faceted stones that were cut from material of that quality. If you have a faceted one, this would be a great specimen to put your faceted stone on for like a before and after kind of representation there. Price on this one, for me to make it any less than what I'm doing would be shameful. But we're going to sale price it anyway. I'm going to make this one only $38. $38 on that. And there's not, I don't know if I have much of any of those left. So take advantage of it. If you want in on or don't have it, you can get a new mineral in your collection for not a lot of money. Now, oh, okay, so I've showed you, remember, a pink apatite. Remember the main specimens I told you that you need to collect that I had gotten those deals on. Pink zircon was, pink apatite was one. Red zircon was another. Triplite was a third. May not show any of those today, but there was a fourth one. And we're getting ready to look at it. It is item 1025921. 1025921. Let's take a look at this. Oh yeah, look at this one. Wow, this is a really nice specimen. You know, look at that. Look at how big that is compared to my finger. This is one of the largest sphene crystals. I don't even know where this specimen came from. I think I set it aside not to sell it, actually. Wow, look at the quality of this other one. Oh, this is indeed was one that I was keeping for the collection. How'd my curator just get past my curator, Miss Raven? Look at this. Look at how big those are. And then look at the clarity. Oh. This is an alpine twin. Let's see. Look at that. You see right there where you have that V down it like that? That's a twin. Okay, here's the other cool thing. Calcite crystals on this. Then clinochlor. Clinochlor, often called chlorite. Chlorite covers a big family. Clinochlor can cover many different types of minerals as well. This is closer, just call it clinochlor would be more accurate than to say that it's a chloride. Wow, look at that. So sphene can often have so much clinochlor in it that it's hard to tell that things are sphene. This is actually one of the much more attractive specimens that I've seen of the sphene. Look at those. Those are the white calcites. Let's see the back of this, because you can often have little tiny sphene crystals around. There's other minerals here, I am sure, for you to vet out and discover. But this is a really flashy piece. Oh, by the way, on the back of the pyromorphite, what's so unusual about that formation of the pyromorphite is the fact that in what looks like the grains of sand are actually cerussite crystals in the grain of sand. And oh, thank you. Raven's going to get that out because I really meant to mention that to you because it really adds a neat touch. All right, let's get to the sphene. I'll finish the sphene. My mind is going everywhere because that's what it does when I'm around my rocks and minerals, that sphene deal here. Okay. What did I do with the sphene? Oh, it was just wrapped up in this. Okay, here we go. With no price or anything. So we're just going to wing it and make it up on the sphene. How about this? How about a guaranteed opportunity for someone to get a stunning specimen for only $58? Yeah, $58. I can promise you there's not much sphene left for me to offer at all. So take advantage of that. Now, let me just show you this real quick. As we go in on the back there, Dave, if you can. Now, here's the neat, unusual thing about the back. Wow, that's kind of cool. Look at all the little pyromorphite growths involved with that. But what makes this really unusual is that it's made up and there's some type of what they called a silica cement that has put these little grains, look at, they're like crystal clear pebbles of what you would think is sand. Some is, but a lot of it though, oh, look at that, is cerussite, which is, remember, the lead carbonate. And that's, of course, you could get lead is available because, look at those. Wow, thank you. Because of the fact that pyromorphite, remember, was a lead chlorophosphate. So lead was present and available. All right, back to the deal on that. Take advantage of that. And let me see how much time. We got time for only another another specimen or so. I showed you the brucite. Here we go. Let me show you. Item 103, 9121. 103, 9121. And wow. Another stunner in a Azurite malachite piece. Wow. Look at that. Now, okay, look at that flash going across there. As we come in on this, let's look and see what all is going on. Because when you see that, it makes you think, because it looks similar to the rossicite. Oh yeah, okay, you see those striated lines going all in one direction across there. Yep, this has a coating of selenite over it as well. Look at that. See, when it all reflects at the same angle at the same time. Beautiful selenite is protecting all those crystals. And if we went really close in, that looks like a cluster of, well, the closest thing you can get to malachite crystals. And let me look real quick because this one is a heart stopper. If I can get the focus back in on it. Yeah, look at that. Those are, oh, Dave, great job. Crystals of malachite. Crystals of malachite. And wow, that shows really well. There you go. There's a beautiful selenite crystal right there. And it goes on because you can get out your magnifier and oh, what do we have? Look, that's why. I saw my cost on this and I wondered why by looking at it from the front. Holy, hold on, let me see something. Those are beautiful. Let me see, I think they're just really, really rich azurites. Yeah. Yep. There we go. There we go. See the one on the right? You can actually see the clarity. Let me see if I can hold it steady. There we go. Look at that. Yeah. Look at that. That's transparent all the way through. Thank you, sir. Look at that crystal. Look at that cluster of them and the back. This would be a fun one to practice your mineral preparation, because you could clean those up and extricate those and bring them out of that matrix to a better extent than they are and really make it look like something. Look at this. I can't say enough about this specimen. Okay, so I see discounted this. I am going to make this someone's specials piece at a fantastic opportunity. Take advantage of it, because I am making this one for Azurite crystals that size, $88. Only $88. I think we have time for one more. Let me see, make sure I've showed you. Well, of course, we never get to everything that I want to, but there is two more beauties. Well, I tell you what, one more. And this one, big time sale price, $981,920. $981,920. Okay, check this out. Now this is from the Dreamtime mine. The Dreamtime mine is the well-known mine you have seen amazing amazonites and smoky quartzes come from. Look at these. This is all Colorado smoky quartz. And there you go. When you get to looking at it, you get to see how distinct the smoky quartz is. Stunning crystals throughout. And the other cool thing, specular hematite. When I first saw Caberstone specular hematite decades ago, I did not think it was, I thought it was like that copper stone. You know, that stupid stone they made with flaky copper pieces that is, was so popular and so much jewelry. Well, I thought that's what specular hematite was, until I realized it was a genuine stone. It's hematite, and the way it forms creates this specular or reflective, flaky kind of beautiful pattern when cut. Now, it also has goethite, and I'll show you that as we come around to it. Okay, so here, see these darker crystal formations, just the kind of gray-black? That's goethite. The other, specular hematite. This is a double-sided piece. Look at that. Yeah, and when you turn it at this angle so you can actually see the depth and the height of the crystals, it makes it all that more attractive. This is a, there's some goethite crystals right along there. This is a really attractive piece and self-displays. You know how I like that. Beautiful piece. Big, big discount on this. How would you like that one for, wow. Yeah, $44. Last chance on that. $44 on that one. All right. Let me just make sure that there wasn't a leftover piece. Since there was only one, let me show you one more. Last item, 102. 5821, 102 5821. Since I only showed one earlier and it was that stunning, stunning, beautiful sphene, let's see if I have another a little less expensive opportunity for somebody. Look at this. Look at that. Well, I don't know. That's a gorgeous one as well. Let me see what kind of magic I can work on it. Now, this one has calcite. It has adularia, which, of course, is where adularescence comes from. That would be basically moonstone. So let's look at this really closely. Look at how well defined the crystals are. Look at that. And then, so you have calcite crystals there, your feldspar crystals there. And if you get ever mixed up, you can use an ultraviolet light. Your calcite will often be orange under shortwave fluorescence. A lot of your feldspars will be a beautiful reddish color. Look at all the sphenes, all the green dotting everywhere, except for this flashy, darkish gray green is clinochlor. But look at all the beautiful sphene crystals in this. And then calcites around it as well. Adularia right in here. Okay, one last, come in right here, Dave, since Dave's a moonstone expert now. Here we go. So you can see these, see that big reflective crystal? You can also do hardness tests. If you're not sure which is which, then feldspar is a hardness of 6, calcite 3.5. So, you know, any kind of metal object like these tweezers or whatnot would certainly scratch your calcite, but not your feldspar. That's an enjoyable specimen and one not many people will have. Try to find a sphene specimen and see what they're going for nowadays. Price on this one, again, we're doing a sale, and I mean, when I say sale, it's a sale. So when I tell you that your opportunity on this guy is only going to be, and again, this is a sale that I probably will not be able to repeat these opportunities, but let's make that one. Oh my, what I think that would go for. All right, let's make that one only $44. $44. Big look, not a lot of money. All right, I hope you took notes. I hope you had your memory in gear, because I'm going to be right back with the trivia questions. I just wanted to add this a little additional piece of information, since some of you had asked me. It's like some of you asked, well, how do you get your information? Because you know what? It seems anymore that if it's not on the World Wide Web, then people are lost as to any other direction for information. Well, not me. I have a 91-year-old father who only retired 3 years ago as the world's leading scientific Russian translator, scientific being the key word. So he has one of the most amazing collection, of course a lot of it's in Russian, but also in English, of informational books on every kind of scientific subject you can imagine. Let me show you. Look at this. You have the Dictionary of Geological Terms. You can barely read the writing. He has taped the back of this so you can see it is a book he has used. By C.M. Rice, well known in the time period. This book was printed in 1960, a year before I was born. Let me just open it to any random page. And if you look at any random page and start just going down, you're going to see words or association of words that have never been put together. Like enstatite. I'm very familiar with enstatite. But enstatite diabase, diopside, enstatite norite, that many different fields of enstatite. And that was an open point and shoot page. So there is terms and words used here that I have never seen anywhere else. This is how my father got the information that he did. And he has passed this book only recently on to me because he knew that I'd be the only one in the family interested in such things. But of course, this is a great piece of literary genius because, of course, it's not in print anymore and can be found in so few places. And that answers that. Be right back with the trivia. It's that time, trivia. And I so apologize again for missing these past weeks. But you see, things are changing. I'm sure you've seen them in the shows that you might have watched. Unless you only watch this show, but there's many other things going on here at Gem Shopping as well. But it's okay. You still can tell that things are different here. I kind of wish I could still put up my pictures on the wall, though. But you never know what kind of... Maybe I'll find a big poster or something to put back there. All right. Trivia questions. 2 of them. And, of course, if you're new to the trivia question protocols, you can take notes and you can use your memory. But no fast forwarding or rewatching the show to pull up the answer. And that way, I guess what I'm trying to do is cause you to learn and to be an educator. Because I love sharing knowledge, but I learned from parochial school and growing up there with different wonderful teachers that a teacher, there's nothing more complimentary to a teacher than great students. And it's a symbiotic relationship. The more a student gives back to the teacher, the more the more effort the teacher puts forward, and the more you will retain and want to retain that knowledge. And we all need to have a little bit more of that, especially as I have gotten a little older in age, and which, by the way, let me throw out a non-trivia question, and if any of you have any real experience with it, let me know back. Because of my experience with long-haul COVID and still having residual symptoms, I cognitively, not always quite as sharp. If any of you have tried or had experience with any of those brain activating, over-the-counter supplements, let me know. Just let me know if, I'm not holding you to anything or whatnot. But I was just curious if there is, if anyone has actually found that they had found that they, obviously I need some right now. I just don't know how to word it. Just tell me if they work. All right? If they have worked for anybody. Okay, ready? 2 trivia questions. Here comes the first one. We actually, the 3 of us, Latif, Raven, and I, had to reword this so many times. I've scratched it out, so I got to try to read my own mess here. Okay, question number 1. What other color is brucite commonly found in other than the color featured? All right, I'll repeat it one more time. What other color is brucite commonly found in other than the one featured? Now, your answers, just so you know, need to come from the show. So you can't just go look them up and find some other, that will they'll match the correct answer, because I know a lot of answers can be different depending on the information that you and where you get your information. But in this show, you get your information from me. So those are the answers I'm looking for, the information that was given to you from me. All right, so that's question number 1. Question number 2. The mineral lazulite was given its Arabic language-based name in allusion to what place? The mineral lazulite was given its Arabic language-based name In allusion to what place? All right, that's it. Okay, so let's see. Ladies, I didn't forget you. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you. And if I could, I'd hug and give you, well, I'm going to hug and give you, feel it, a virtual hug and kiss. And even guys, I'm not one of those huggy guys, and, you know, until COVID came around. So all of you guys can feel the hug as well. If not, then the fist bump, okay? Got to do it, whatever we got to do. Moving into spring, things are already, we already have our, those little yellow daffodils coming up here, down here. It's crazy. Trees are blooming too soon. I haven't been able to run the plant, dig up the gold, get anything done outside. So I don't mind if winter lasts a little longer down here, because they don't do too well in the heat. I have probably going to do another sale segmented show here soon, because I have some fantastic things that I want to move and bring in some more things. As you know, we're getting to some good stuff, better and better along the way. And like you never knew I had that opal stash, did you? That's not the end of the bag. But that's all I'm going to say. I could not have a better time than being here with you. And it's really probably the healthiest thing also for me is to get out there and to keep my mind sharp and keep feeling the love back from all of you and your support. And just so you know, I so appreciate it that I am going to go see the doctor. I am going to get better, and I am going to find enough Georgia gold that I'm going to be able to, what I want to do is actually really give everybody trivia envy by giving away enough of a parcel that would make you go, oh, I wish I won that. But I want it to be gold that I found, which I think I did. There was a few little flakes one time I did, but I want to give a little more than that. But I also would like to find some, and this is me just, you know, in my gold fever state, find enough that to share the wealth as far as giving you an opportunity to buy at a fantastic opportunity price-wise, some other that I have found. Because I think I'm on it. At least before I got sick, I think I found it. And I think that that was meant to be able to get me through this so that I can get back to it. Because if I get to where I don't have the energy or the ability to go dig up the gold after I think I found the honey hole where it is before I ended up getting sick, then how could I think the rest of my life a rockhound's once in a lifetime dream of finding it and never being able to dig it out of the ground? Can one live with that? Anyway, God bless all of you. Thank you again so much for your support and your patience with having missed these shows. I continue to ask for your support, and I hope that it is a symbiotic relationship and that I can give back to you as well in forms that make you healthy, wealthy, and wise, and end up with a great rock collection at the end of it. Take care, and I will see you next Monday.